Do I now wait for people, or do I just assume that they'll listen to the recording? So, the one thing to remember is, and some people only discovered this at the very last submission prior to this, that there are actually slides that talk to the actual rubric. I'm blown away by that. Now, this is the message for those individuals, and I'm trying very hard not to lose my temper here, who thought that they would cheat with bloody AI and simply go and create critical realism as their topic, as their research paradigm. No one had used critical realism whatsoever. You're not allowed to use critical realism. You have to be an idiot if you've put down critical realism. And so many people cheated with that final submission that it is really problematic. So the time for diplomacy is over. And I'm talking not to anyone here, but I'm talking to people who hopefully will bloody listen to this and understand that we're not messing around anymore. Your default setting is not AI, it's not ChatGPT, it is this set of slides. In terms of this set of slides, there are a couple of things that we need to remember. You are either going to adopt a positivist, and I think initially there was only one positivist paradigm, or maybe two positivist paradigms, and that was Musa and one more person. All of a sudden, after cheating and sticking nonsense through AI, we've got 100 positivist paradigms. And then, as I said, those of you who think you're doing critical realism, the AI is misleading you. And really and truly, I'm going to fail you in this last submission. So time for niceties are over. Unfortunately, I'm not talking to people here, and you have to now start getting this right. Aman, I'm talking to you in particular, boy. Now he buggers off because I want to shout at him. Okay, so remember, you are either doing a positivist or an interpretivist paradigm. So here, how's it, boy? Where did Okay, it doesn't matter. Right. So at this stage, everyone's titles are sorted. Please go back to the original title. People created new titles for their third submission. People created new titles for their third submission that had absolutely nothing to do with the first two submissions. So, where are you going to use your first two submissions to build your information on? To me, this is where the concern is. So the title, go back to the original title. Everyone would have got a title from me at the beginning. So once you've got the title and you know where it is, you will give me your background. These slides you have to follow slavishly. These slides tie in perfectly with your rubric. So in terms of the background, so essentially it's why we've got to this point. Why have there been these reasons that have contributed to us having to actually research this particular topic? So the kinds of things we want in our background will be numbers and stats and facts, will always be numbers and stats and facts. These numbers and stats and facts are important because it gives us an indication that you've gone and seen the reasons for the importance of this particular bit of research. I think, and I'm going to use Musa yours because it's sticking in my mind. But the numbers, facts, and stats is Trump getting rid of people. And however, there are vast numbers of people working in agriculture that will affect essentially the ability of farmers to harvest. Guys, so essentially it's telling us what is the reason that we've got to this particular point. The problem statement, I'm not even going to be fancy. Those of you that have done well throughout the semester will remember that we have three components to the problem statement. We have the ideal, we have the consequences, the idea that we will be adopting a particular process through this document. For those of you that have messed up till this point, all I need is the actual deficiency, the reason that brought us here, the headache that's brought us here. In terms of that, guys, please remember to support it with references, with academic references. So when you describe the issue, when you describe this headache, when you describe this problem, when you describe this deficiency, I need to see it supported with some sort of set of references. Once you've done that, and please, when you go through this recording, play a bit, do the bit, stop, go on to the next bit, stop, go on to the next bit, stop, because you have to do this in bite-sized chunks, because people have got to this point and a vast majority of you are not ready to submit. And then the relevance. So the relevance is the rationale. It is the reason why we do this. The easiest way to think about the relevance is to ask the question, what would happen if we left this problem alone? What would happen if we ignore this problem? And that is important, because if you tell me nothing, then you don't have a reason to the research. This indicates the absolute importance of the research to us. This indicates the absolute importance of the research to us. And you can see, guys, I give you questions to answer. Why is this important? Why is it worth researching? What benefit can we get from policy, practice, decision making? And then also, what happens if we leave this alone? So it's not as if you have to go into bloody ChatGPT to find these answers. Simply answer the questions on the slide. And I'm shouting at, unfortunately, not everyone here. But if you're being shouted at, you will know, because you've been dragged through this thing to this point and are almost failing. Then we are looking at, now this is a key thing. Please remember, there are two sets of slides. The slides correspond, but you have quantitative slides. My apologies. You have quantitative slides if you've adopted a positivist paradigm. And so you'll follow all of that. And let me just get to, and you'll see this is where they deviate from each other. So if you are doing positivist research, Moose, and I know that's you, you will have a single research question. Generally, that research question would go, what is the relationship between this variable and that variable? Remember, that's it. One research question. You don't have research objectives. You don't have anything else. So you will look at what is the relationship, and we normally would have put those variables into your title. What is the relationship between alcohol consumption and your ability to drive? Okay. That is a single question. Then from there, if you are doing quantitative, you will have hypotheses. You will have your null hypotheses, and just write it simply. The null hypothesis, there is no relationship between Trump's immigration policies and for economic performance within agriculture in America. There is a relationship if you put down your alternative hypothesis. You've got to give me one null and one alternative hypothesis. If you're doing qualitative research, you have got your overarching question and you have got your clarifying questions. So your overarching question is the single broadest question you can ask about a particular topic. So, and you'll see, this is not that I teach with my slides, because I don't really look at it when I teach, but you'll see the stuff that I'm saying is in the slides. Okay, these things are in the slides. And then your clarifying questions are your sub-questions. Those sub-questions become your objectives. Now, remember, all of us have decided to do exploratory research to keep it simple. So you will take your sub question, and if your sub question is what role do immigrants play in the agricultural economy, your objective would be to explore the role that immigrants play in the agricultural economy. Remember, it is important that if you have three sub questions, you have got 3 objectives. And remember, those objectives tie in with your title. We have all decided to do exploratory research, so you'll go explore, explore, explore. Right. So there is a slight variation there. So in terms of the qualitative people, you are all doing a phenomenological study, but I'm not going to worry if you don't mention phenomenology. This is for people who want to get the 80s and the 90s, Michaela and those kinds of people. We are all doing a phenomenological study because we're studying a particular phenomenon. And then your research questions, as I said, your sub questions become your research questions. And sorry to repeat myself, it is to explore, to explore, to explore. The literature review. Now, I'm so concerned that some people still do not understand this. You have to have a theoretical foundation. In the theoretical foundation, there are 3 components that you have to have. Once you've selected your theory, and we have all agreed theories in class, I gave you theories in class. There are 3 components. You discuss the theory in its original format. You then discuss updated views on the theory. And then you will tell me why this theory is relevant as a framework for your research. Now, whether you're doing quantitative or qualitative, it doesn't matter. The process, the rules remain the same. There should be no issue with that. If you're doing quantitative research, I think, Musa, we've decided with you, we'll have a theory for each of your variables. So you'll just do it for 2 theories. Musa, for the quantitative people, if you are using more than one theory, just remember to connect the theories when you transition from one to another. But the 3 components, theory in its original format, updated views on the theory with proper references, not bloody Indeed and Wikipedias and such nonsense, and then obviously why this theory is relevant. In terms of your review of previous research, this is your literature review. So you'll see that the headings follow this guideline. In terms of the review of previous research, in terms of the review of previous research, just remember, guys, you should have at this stage done all your reading. What is, however, important is that you then now consolidate that into themes. So your themes, and let me just show you what themes look like, because these are the kinds of things that I'm concerned about, that people still don't get what a theme is. Let me just find sample research reports. I'm just going to take M's. Come on. So you'll see in terms of her literature review, foundation. So review of previous research. One of the themes, climate change. Please label those themes. You will also see that she has different authors included. This isn't ideal. You need multiple authors. If you only have one author, it's not a critical discussion. It is a summary. Disaster management was one of the others. So author, yeah, another author there. Consequences of disasters, those are your labels to your themes. Please remember to label your themes. Right, so this is for both quantitative and qualitative, so I'm not worried about that. At this point, I honestly think it's too late. If you've not done your literature review and are able to fix it, you are going to be too late. Conceptualization. Conceptualization would be those key definitions that, in order to effectively read this document, I need to understand. So it would be the pertinent definitions that relate to your topic. So if we look at M's stuff again, okay, so government, local municipal, here it is. Climate change, disaster management, consequence of disaster, strategic thinking. Okay, so those are definitions. Please, in terms of the definitions, a theoretical textbook definition, no wikis, no that dictionary nonsense.com, no, I don't know where else people find stuff, Encyclopedia Britannica nonsense. And then the definition, and then the definition discussed in terms of your research. So remember, there are two components: the definition in terms of the origin theory definition, and then the definition in terms of what it means and interpreted in terms of your research. That's your conceptualization. Sorry, I just want to drink a bit of water. Apologies for that. Then the paradigms. There are two paradigms that you're selecting from. For those individuals that have all of a sudden magically used AI to create critical realism, you are lucky that you have not been given zero for those submissions. I took pity on you. You better understand I will not take pity in this final result because I get moderated. And you know who you are, that, and you know who I'm speaking to. If you're on this call, then you know that I'm talking to you. But generally, I don't think it's individuals here. Let me just get Dish in here. Okay. So, in terms of the paradigms, guys, just the discussion is very simple. Interpretivism, we've now done this. When you're adopting an interpretivist approach, it essentially means there's no single approach. It is about a single reality or truth. It means that we consider the the people the people's experiences with things and events and other people, and essentially draw information from there. So for us, from an interpretivist perspective, and remember my example that I used about the car accident. When there's a car accident and you interview the people who observed, who witnessed the accident, that is interpretivism. When you get the guy who is the accident investigator who arrives and measures and takes the numbers and stats stuff, that is positivism. So interpretivism is seen from the perspective of a lived experience. Positivist means it is objective, that reality exists separately from the individual. There are descriptions in terms of each of those, and simply just steal my descriptions from the slides and find a decent reference. The reason I don't put references there is that you can steal it, paraphrase it, and go find another reference. Okay. And then ontology. Yeah. What is reality? Reality is lived experiences. Epistemology. What is knowledge? It is essentially the fact that um, people's knowledge essentially is based around how we see things and how we interpret what people have lived. And you can see the descriptions here. Please go through each of those, steal it, and go and reference it. And this, to me, is the best slide in terms of ontology, epistemology, etc. Just see there, guys, in terms of ontology, nature of reality, just use this information. It's not that difficult. Just go find a different reference. This is very good. Just paraphrase that, steal it from there, and you are sorted. This here you can use as well, but I prefer the previous slide. But to just say, I've gone overboard. I've given you more and more and more. In terms of quantitative research, so the same stuff, the only difference is that here we are talking about a positivist paradigm. Where is it? There. But I've given all the slides that you can use. So if you're doing positivism, just use the positivist slides. It's almost replicated the information. In terms of population, okay, guys, so for population, you have to describe it at four levels. Okay, where are the four levels? Let me just get to that. So you have to describe, and it's slide 27 in the quantitative. You have to describe the overall population. So those are individuals who essentially, any person who could form part of the group of people we want to have part of our research. Target population would be the people you've targeted in your title. So if you said that you're looking for KwaZulu-Natal, that would be your target population. Accessible population are those people that you can reasonably get access to. So within a specific city, within a specific organization. So you have to funnel from your population, have to discuss population, have to discuss target population, have to discuss accessible population. Please also make sure that you talk about your population characteristics. You need to discuss that and your population parameters. I think I've got a summary for you here. Okay, take it from that angle. And then sampling, if you are doing positivist, you are following probability sampling, which means that every single person who's part of your population has equal opportunity to be part of the actual research, to be selected in the research. Please don't get clever. And this is where I catch you up, because AI will give you the most strange things. Just do probability sampling. Tell me what bloody probability sampling is, and then tell me random sampling. And then this. Oh, my goodness me. So for qualitative research, it is non-probability sampling, because people don't have an equal opportunity to be selected. People essentially are targeted here. I would simply go purpose of sampling, so non-probability, purpose of snowball sampling. This is not difficult, guys. This has been given to you in class repeatedly. It is literally just to copy it from the slides. But people are defaulting to AI and they are making a mess of things. Okay, so the qualitative people, just remember, guys, this is where we are phenomenology in terms of our data collection. Data collection, open-ended, semi-structured interviews. Nothing more, nothing less. Open-ended, semi-structured interviews. If you're doing quantitative research, you're doing quantitative research, data collection, a survey, and a questionnaire. That is it. Just remember, in terms of the rubric, you need to show me your interview questions if you're doing qualitative research, and you need to show me your questionnaire if you're doing quantitative research. Okay. And then data analysis, just remember, yeah, the data analysis is outlined here. Oh, Shibit, sorry. The data analysis outlined here, guys. Just go and reference it. Just there is the set of steps that you follow in terms of data analysis for interpretivism. Yeah, so remember, interpretivist, open-ended interviews. We don't need to worry about that. And then just here is a protocol. So those of you that are putting together your interview questions, you can use that interview protocol. And then your data analysis. Guys, I just would keep it simple. Just use qualitative content analysis. It is the Merriam approach. Just go and reference that. Okay. In terms of quality of research, if you are doing qualitative research, the quality is based on trustworthiness, and you will use terms like credibility, transferability, dependability, conformability. And then obviously you can look that up. In terms of quantitative research, you know that it's about numbers and stats, and your quality is there. Validity and reliability, objectivity. You can also put generalizability into that. Ethical considerations, there are the guidelines for the ethical considerations. Guys, ethical considerations, the same given as guidelines for qualitative research. And then your anticipated contributions. Guys, I don't know. You can say generally you want to add to policy, practice, and decision making, and a bit to theory. So if you want to claim that for your contributions, changes in policy, changes in practice, changes in decision making, and potentially adding to some theory. And I've given an outline of what to put into your ethical considerations, okay? And then your limitations, number of participants, not going and speaking to the entire country, only staying in Pietermaritzburg. You can think about things in terms of that. So everything that you're doing, and again, as I said, some people discovered for the first time in the second last submission that I have slides per submission. Everything is there. Now, you guys might think that I'm shouting and you might think I'm angry, but I'm tense and not at the good people. I'm tense at those people that have cheated their way, that have tried to AI their way here. You have got enough information, you have enough time, and you have my slides. Steal from the slides, paraphrase from the slides, and then reference. There's nothing more to do than that. And use this recording. Having said that, I know some of you will cheat with AI. I know that I'm going to catch you and you're going to fail. That's it. I'm trying to be positive, but I can't because I'm annoyed at some people. Right. Enough of my anger and my nastiness. Any questions, any comments? Let's look at a nice lighthouse or something with a nice sailboat. Go,
So
Moose.
if
Hi,
let's say
Moose.
you let's say for your submissions you've done well and there's minimal feedback, and say you make
Well,
use
then,
of it here
if
and
there's
there,
minimal feedback,
will you get
if
penalized if you
if there's minimal feedback, it means that you're on track. Musa, if it's minimal
so then
feedback, it
sir
means you're on track.
so then sir
But where
would
I've
you be
told you
fine if
to make
you
corrections, make corrections. Say again,
yes
Musa.
sir, I'm saying, so would you be fine if you just like copy paste
Of
and then
course,
you
that's
change
the
according to the
intention of
feedback?
this project. That is the
Okay.
intention of the project. As we say, and I'm not angry at you, Musa, because you're one of the very good students. But the intention is to be able to take every single submission and stick them together into a single document and submit it. That's how we've done it. And obviously adjust in line with feedback. But some people have got different titles, different paradigms, different methodologies for each of their submissions. And it's because, I don't know, I'm not going to comment about that anymore. If you've done well throughout the semester and you simply stick those together with super glue into a single document, I have to give you very good marks. Simple as that. Any other questions, guys? Yeah. So considering this is the last time together, I shouldn't have been shouting this much, but I think you guys know where the shouting is coming from. It is now out of concern. It's to use a rugby analogy. We're 7 points. We're 5 points down. We're in a scrum on their line, and we now need to make sure that we score this try and kick the goal over. So that's where we're at. From an analogy perspective, you are literally 40 love down in a final match of a tennis match. And if you win this match, you will actually win the Wimbledon championship. You now need to stand and deliver. I'm trying to sound less platitudinal and cliched, but I'm not getting away with it. Any other questions? Let me stop talking because I'm sounding like an idiot. I'm not editing anything out. So if you've been shouted at in here, that's good. You'll know that I'm annoyed. Okay. Musa, you're okay? Michaela, you're okay? Tash, you're okay? Dodo, you're okay? Varosha, how are you, Varosha? Tahir, you okay, bud? Arman, you're okay? Ash, you're okay? Dish, how are you, Dish? I haven't seen you in a while. And I don't know who the small K is there, but I hope you're okay. If there are no questions, I've got a pile of marking to get through. Thank you so much for attending. I'll hang around for a minute or two when you guys leave if you want to ask questions in private. Thanks so much, guys. Good luck with the submission, and I'll see you guys at grad next year. Cheers, cheers, all. I'll share the recording the moment it's done.